Yeah, just eliminating my leg kick, really, kind of going almost like a no stride. Just trying to keep my head as still as possible. Just watching how Goldie hits. There's so many good things about his swing. I'm trying to emulate a little bit of that. So, but also making it me. Not trying to be Paul Goldschmidt, but just having a consistent body position is something that I've really been struggling with before I made these changes. So I'm pretty confident about where I'm at. Yeah, I think in the last couple of years, my mind and my body just haven't matched up, and I think this year I'm trying to match those two things up and allow my body to do what my mind's telling it to do. And so, to me, it just seems a lot more synced up, and I'm excited to get out there and show what I can do.
Well, you start from scratch at the beginning of the season? Is that at all? I mean, do you go ahead and build from square one, or
It kind of evolved in a way, yes, but then also, it's kind of just being an athlete. It wasn't too specific at first, but then as we started diving in, we started looking at little tweaks to go from there. I trust myself as an athlete to be able to do things, but overall, I think the biggest thing was just eliminating any sort of like leg kick. I think it just my weight was just flying forward, my head's flying forward, changing heights, and it's just really hard to consistently hit the ball like that. So for me, it's almost like staying back, not stepping, just like kind of sitting there and using the power of the ball and the rotation of my swing to produce. And I just think I'll have a lot more bat to ball skills with that.
As obviously as a hitter, you're always tweaking things. But for you, when you talk about your mind and your body not really matching up, how important is it for you to establish a consistent approach going into the spring?
Yeah, it's super important. I think it starts with my cage work, my stuff before the game, but so I can go in there and be confident in what I've been doing, what I'm working on, versus in years past I've been going in there trying to do something new, and then your head's kind of spinning, you're kind of a little mentally fatigued going into the game. So for me, it's almost going to be like a checklist, and things are gonna get in, get out, conserve my energy, and go out there and play the game, which is the most important part of this whole deal. Why we're all here is these games, and so for me, it's just going to be continuing to develop before we start the spring training, and then going out with that edge starting and when games start playing.
Do you feel like there's an added benefit? I mean, some of your teammates are going to be playing a little baseball classic, especially middle infield. With Tommy gone, that will give you substantial time at shortstop. How beneficial will that be?
Yeah, it'll be great. Just looking forward to being out there. I know what I can do. I know what I've done in this league, and I know I can still keep doing that and more. So I'm excited to get out there and show everybody what I can do. And more importantly, show myself that I still belong here and I want to be here and have fun and like all sorts of new feelings for me this year. And I'm really looking forward to it.
last season about kind of the appeal of maybe just going out and playing and getting back to having fun? Is that going to be possible this spring? And it's going to be a unique spring because there's going to be at bats sometimes that can get all the guys gone for the baseball classic. Does this kind of spring maybe open itself up for you to have that approach?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to give me a lot of chances, and I want a lot of at bats. I want to play. I want to learn things about myself. I want to feel confident what I'm doing, and so all that takes reps and experience. So it's all timing up perfectly for me to go out there and have a great spring. And whatever it is just to help this team win. I think we have such a great organization. Everyone is doing the right things, but we need to all believe in each other and pull our own weight. And I'm just excited to be a part of this.
Well, said in an effort to get you those advanced innings, third, second, who knows, first, like just to get you in there. How comfortable are you moving around? I mean, you obviously play great shortstop, but how comfortable are you moving around?
Yeah, I think any great shortstop can play any position on the field. So yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. Whatever it is, I just want to be out there regularly. I think that's kind of my big thing, and I'd love to play shortstop for as long as I can. It's kind of my natural position, and it's I take pride in my defense, and so I want to continue to work hard and develop as that.
What's the big test for all the work you've done? Is it something you can watch yourself in live VP? Is it even something like can you use virtual reality to know what you feel, or
Coming a game.
I think it's games, but I also think it's trust. I think it's comfort. I think it's being able to go up there and do my do my new moves without thinking about it. I think that it's got to become naturally, and I think that'll be the test. It's like being able to just the way I see other people, like the great players, the way I see how they see the game is they're not thinking about themselves. They're okay. This is the approach. This is the situation, and they go up there, and their body does what it needs to do. And so, I think for me in my struggles, I've been trying to tell my body what to do, and it's not listening. It's not synced up. But when things are going well in that flow state, it's about you just being naturally competing in the game. And I think that's what's most important, especially in this analytics day and age. I think is just losing the competition. You're losing what it means to be out there and playing baseball. So I just want to be as natural as possible out there with all the work that I put in to change.
Is it fair to kind of describe like in December to experiment, figure out what was right, January to make it muscle memory, and February to see how that translates?
Yeah, I think it's constantly evolving. As momentum builds towards spring training and live at bats and all my at bats in spring, I'll learn a lot about myself and how and what I like about it and what I may maybe need to tweak So I'm very open to making changes, and I'm just excited to take some at bats. Hopefully, I get at least a chance to stand in on some lives or something. I know there's going to be guys throwing, so just to be able to stand in the box, I think is going to be really important. But really, for me, it's about kind of using the ground. I think that's like whenever I had my leg kick, it's like I was up in the air and I'm floating, and that's not a great position to be in. When you watch old Albert, when the guy throws at his head and he hits a home run dead center against the Cubs or something, he's like corkscrewing into the ground. He's so strong and using his feet and his rotation. Like that's how hitting should be, as opposed to like this kind of nebulous up in the air, falling forward, kind of all that types of feelings that I had been feeling.
Was that kind of a light switch moment for you then when you started to kind of buy into, okay, this is something that can actually help me if I kind of stick to these tenets?
Yeah, absolutely. You watch Mark McGwire. I mean, look at his swing. I mean, the most simple thing possible, and the way he produces power and force is unmatched. And so, I just think there's a lot of lessons to be had, and I've absorbed a lot of information this year, and I'm excited to put it to work.
Is the specific nature of those changes this time around something that can add that confidence of, like you said, I want to prove to myself that I belong in produce here? Does the nature of these specific changes give you that confidence that this can be different from times in the past where I tried to make these different
Yeah,
decisions?
because I think this is really actually is a change versus in the past it may have felt like it, or maybe in my mind I was doing something, but my body was not. So I think it's all about matching those two things up, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Hard game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but we love it. I mean, it's about the competition. It's overcoming struggle. It's yesterday's home runs don't count today. I mean, it's 162 games. I mean, there's going to be these moments, but at the end of the day, you keep working and you have people around you supporting you, and we have a goal we're working towards, and that's what makes us all love this so much.
Well, I think Goldie or somebody who said with Turner Ward, it feels like he's in the box with you, like he's living and dying with every swing.
Mm-hmm.
He's vocal from the dugout. How different has he been working with him?
Turner's great. It's great to have somebody out there that has been there, that has competed at the level that we're playing at. Turner will go through a wall for you, literally, like he did in Pittsburgh. Turner, he's kind of bringing together. I think we have a great mix now. He's bringing together that old school gritty wisdom with kind of Dan, our new guy, and Brandon Allen even kind of diving into the numbers. So I think we got a good mix right now between those two schools of thought.
Safe to say that in the past there were things you were doing that were like building on or adding, and now it's almost more like stripping down. Is that accurate? Or?
Yeah, in some ways, in changing my mechanics, things have been stripped away, but then there's still the same cues. Like you get to your foot down and your bat's in position, and where's the ball at? Like you can still time these things up where you want to be fully loaded and ready, but before that ball comes out. Like those are the types of things we're looking at. We're looking at on slow-mo camera, like when did I stop? Like you have this moment where you stop and then you go. Like those are the types of things we're studying right now to see, like in my cage work. Okay, I hit that ball off the machine while I was late. Or okay, oh, I hit that one really well. Oh, I was ready. I looked paused. I was ready to like unload. And it's like being able to use momentum, I think, is the biggest thing for me. It's like this timing with power. And so those are the types of things Dan and I have been working on in Florida. And yeah, it's just the technology has helped in this case where we can see the camera, we can see, okay, this is what I did and this is what I need to do now. Like game to game adjustments, swing to swing adjustments. Those are the types of things we're talking about.
Last year you had to go depth with pitch clock. That's not what like the rest of the guys here that you level depth to new rules.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think some guys are going to thrive. Some guys are going to take a little bit to adjust, but I think overall the game is going to be fine. We'll all get used to it, and things will be okay. I think when there's guys on, the timing felt fine with runners on base, so I wouldn't worry about it. It's more about the runner not on base that a pitcher I think is going to have a bigger advantage.
A little while ago you mentioned how last year went. What do you feel like the biggest lesson you learned just about that journey?
Yeah, it's more just like what I was doing wrong, and having the courage to change. Whereas I thought I was changing, but I really wasn't, and it never really felt right. So it's about kind of finding that comfortability with myself and that confidence, that real, not just talking about it, but like actually doing it. I think it's like stepping into that. Me being able to actually make steps forward as a player, I think, is the biggest thing for me this year, as opposed to kind of dancing around it or believing that I'm doing something, but video doesn't say anything differently. So it's about matching up my mind and body.
Bigger bases. We hear a lot about the base running. What about defensively? You guys have turned a lot of close double plays. You've got a lot of close outs on the field. Is that going to make you guys have to be even sharper trying to make those plays defensively even a little bit?
I'm not sure. It's still 90 feet to the front of the base? Is that correct? So it should be normal for a double play. I think steals will be a big one. I think we need to definitely. I'm going to work with Stubby and the other infielders on taking tags. I think those are going to, because those swim moves or those kind of those slides that some guys make are really going to be a lot more effective. So we're going to have strategies for that as infielders, but I think for us, straddling the bag to try to take a tag is going to be the way to do it. Even though a lot of times it's easy to go in front of the bag, I think we're really going to have to force the habit of just standing right on the bag.
Well, you obviously put in a lot of work. How did you also make sure that you balance not being by trying to make the new swing, get things right?
Dan's been really helpful with me. He dove into what was going on zones wise, where I was getting pitched, and so we work on my weaknesses. And so if I can work on my weaknesses and be strong on pitches that I was getting exposed on last year, I think that's super important. And so we kind of took these things head on, but then also, he talked me down because I can get a little hasty sometimes and be like, okay, it's November 30th. He says, we made some good changes today and yesterday, good job. But just remember, it's November, we'll keep building. So it's kind of like a snowball type effect. And I think that's what's biggest for me is laying that foundation, laying that trust and that muscle memory, like you said. I think all that stuff just takes time and not to rush it. And I think there have been times where I've been trying to rush results. And I think that's kind of being able to truly eliminate that in my mind will allow me to do the best that I can be.
You also have to get a break from the cage, not have.
I wanted to be in there. No, it was normal work. We'd hit for an hour and a half. We keep track of my swings just consistently around 100 or maybe even less sometimes, 100 swings a day, and all that. But it was meaningful reps. We got to dive in when we wanted to, or when I had to make adjustments. I just hit a ball. Like, what's the next mentality? And then you get into it. And I think when I get back tomorrow, we're going to start working on pitch clock in the cage. He's going to feed the machine on a pitch clock type thing and try to make it as realistic as possible, which I'm kind of looking forward to. It should be fun.